So do you think hard fork will happen in case of other coins?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's just a matter of time before hard forks happen. But so I mean, anything that's open source, I can make a hard fork right now. You can make a hard fork right now. Will anybody adopt it? Maybe not. So the level of adoption for that is questionable. And then we also see, you know, a lot of other blockchain and blockchain-like distributed, decentralized ideas. But one thing that's happening, I think, right now is a lot of the problems with distributed computing that we've had for years, we're starting to look at more. So a lot of the things, like you probably remember a lot of the peer-to-peer file sharing networks. And that was really interesting. I mean, we had like Napster or ISOHunt, BitTorrent type things. And that is a really interesting model. And perhaps we'll see in the future, perhaps we'll see a fall of centralized telecoms, you know, and centralized internet service providers, and we'll see more peer-to-peer happening. That might be very interesting. Maybe, maybe not. But addressing some of these problems, you know, I think that blockchain itself may or may not address them, but it does use some of this peer-to-peer technology, and it does get people focused on how can we solve this. On the one hand, how can we create a system that is decentralized without this centralized authority, but is still safe to use for people, and is better than the system we currently have?
Do you think blockchain will disrupt our banking system, banking business?
I think
banking. Yeah.
I think if you look at here's where I think the huge the core disruption comes from is look at any industry where you have single entities with huge portions of the market. So if you look at telecom, if you look at banking, if you look at government, you have these centralized systems of control that also become centralized systems of power. Anywhere where you have those, I think that blockchain can be an impetus for disruption in a major way. So because suddenly we don't need these institutes anymore. And if nobody uses them anymore, then if, for example, if tomorrow you go to the convenience store and you want to buy some milk, and you go to give them some money, that's yen or US dollars or Canadian dollars, whatever it is, you give them a bill or a coin, and they say, oh, sorry, we don't accept that. We only accept Bitcoin because we know we can trust it. If that starts to happen, then the power in money, in the current fiat systems that's backed by government, is gone. And so is, like, the money, the value of the money is gone. Inherently, it has no value. And the power behind it becomes obsolete because there's nothing to support it. Now, what would have to happen for that to become a reality? Maybe we're looking at, you know, maybe that will never happen, but maybe it will.
Yeah, this can be happening in case of like a big inflation country like Zimbabwe.
For sure. I mean, if there's ever a reason, if there's a reason to not trust the government and not trust the money behind it, of course that can happen kind of easily. But in a more stable country, you know, somewhere like Japan or South Korea or China or Russia or America, it's unlikely to happen, but it might happen.
Yeah, my CFO is from venture capital. He's saying currently Bitcoin price is in hype and going up and up. So in this case, we cannot trade Bitcoin as a currency because rate is unstable. But if it's become stable, Bitcoin is perfect technology as a currency. So
there's another way to look at that, though. I mean, you could say that Bitcoin is completely stable and all other currencies are fluctuating in relation to Bitcoin. Of course, that's not the way I see it, and I realize that there is a lot of hype and a lot of inflation. Then another thing is, if you consider that over the next several years, there will be 21 million Bitcoin and never any more. So the big question I see is, if Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain have solved the problem of currency, then if I hold one Bitcoin, currently it's around 15 or 20,000 US dollars. If I hold one, that's one. If that becomes the major world currency, that's 1/21 millionth of the world's wealth. That's a lot of money. But then on the other hand, what if people forget about Bitcoin and use something else? That could happen also. So we don't really know, and it is sort of predicting the future at this point.
And very, very interesting thing about blockchain is in case of artificial intelligence and machine learning, this is idea is coming from science fiction. So we can predict the future, but in case of blockchain disruption, this is not science fiction. So I wasn't expecting this innovation a few years ago. So this is more exciting.
I would say it's a different system than anything that we traditionally have in human society. We don't usually make decisions together. We have leaders. And so if this gives us a chance to sort of make the leadership more equal, then that's one thing. But on the other hand, if it comes to a sort of automated society or automated decision-making or AI-based government, for example, then blockchain may be leading the way or making that an easier transition or a more logical one. But for sure, I think it's, if you think about other things like, for example, if you and I want to make a deal, a business deal, but we don't know if we can trust each other, then we need to hire a third party, maybe an insurance provider, maybe a lawyer, whatever.
Someone like
an escrow,
right?
exactly. And oftentimes those types of services like banking, international banking and finance is quite expensive. So one thing for sure that blockchain can do is give transparency and security into those types of transactions for free or very close to free. Maybe a small transaction fee, but nothing like what we currently have. That's one place where things can be very disruptive. Kind of immediate.
Okay, we talked a lot about community and blockchain. Thank you very much. So do you want to promote your own business?
Sure. Well, we have, of course, the Vancouver Tech Podcast, which is a weekly podcast about what's happening in the tech community in Vancouver. We usually have guests on that are relevant to the Vancouver scene. So if you're interested in what's happening in technology in Vancouver, vancouvertechpodcast.ca. And another one is BlockTech Ventures. So we're doing blockchain focused. We do consulting. If you have a project, whether it's a government project, a banking project, a supply chain project that needs, that has a solution that could be solved with blockchain, or maybe you're considering blockchain and you're not sure whether it's the right technology for you or not, we'd be happy to have a look at that. On the other hand, if you have an idea and you'd like to build a business on blockchain and you need funding, then we have resources for that as well. So BlockTech Ventures.
BlockTech Ventures. So do you accept the offer from Japanese clients as well?
Yes, absolutely. We're currently we're looking at a few different clients. One of our big contracts is with a company out of Hong Kong that operates in Southeast Asia. But yeah, we're all over the world. So
you've been working together?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you need to travel a lot or always video conference or?
So that it really depends on the type of business. So if we need to see how the business is working and talk to several key individuals and see the day-to-day process to really vet whether blockchain is a correct solution or not, then we will need to travel for sure.
Okay, probably I will put the link of your business in the YouTube channel, so I will promote your business as well.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. So keep in touch. Bye bye.
Bye bye.